Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I know y'all saying I keep coming on. I told you I'm doing this marathon today. All right, so we are going to have a little talk about this endorsement by Jessie Jackson. Jessie Jackson endorsed Bernie Sanders. We're going to talk about that today. Make sure I'm on. Testing 1 2 3. All right. All right, so today, Jessie Jackson endorsed Bernie Sanders at a rally. Let's take a look at this. Let me get started first. Give me a moment. Boy. So breaking news, Jessie Jackson just endorsed Bernie Sanders to become the next president of the United States. Now, this is what I call, you got my back, I got your back. Because the only person that ever really came out the bat swinging for Jessie Jackson in this run as president of the United States, well, the first person that came out was Bernie Sanders. I think the second person to come out for Jessie Jackson was actually, now get this, wait for it, Donald Trump. The Democratic establishment did not want Jessie Jackson running for office. Jessie Jackson did what Bernie Sanders did. He started an organization called Rainbow Push, and that was to push people into politics. It was to help do a whole lot of stuff. And they wasn't ready for Jessie Jackson. They did not want Jessie Jackson, just like they don't want Nina Turner, just like they didn't want Ayanna Presley. And they don't want true politicians that care about people to run for office. That's the Democratic Party for you. But we're going to get into the story real quick. Give me a moment. Real quick, we're going to get into the story. All right. Where am I? There I am. There we go. So Bernie Sanders was endorsed by Jessie Jackson today, which is big news. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to try to pull up the article. Just give me a moment. All right. All right, Bernie Sanders. Good morning from Grand Rapids, where later today we'll hear from Reverend Jessie Jackson telling us he's endorsing Bernie Sanders. Here we go.
And Senator Bernie Sanders also announcing a big endorsement. His communication director tweeting, Reverend Jessie Jackson is throwing his support behind the senator. The Reverend will be with Senator Sanders at an event in Michigan within this hour. The progressive political group Justice Democrats also endorsed Sanders, saying he will defeat Trump and govern America in this time of crisis. Both candidates, not surprisingly, out on the trail today. Joe Biden holding events with Southern voters in Mississippi. Bernie Sanders keeping his campaign in the pivotal state of Michigan. He is coming off a huge rally in Chicago yesterday with hundreds of supporters there. Talking to NBC's Chuck Todd earlier, he blamed the Democratic establishment for his poor showing on Super Tuesday.
The establishment put a great deal of pressure on Pete Buttigieg, on Amy Klobuchar, who ran really aggressive campaigns. If they had not withdrawn from the race before Super Tuesday, which is kind of a surprise to a lot of people, I suspect we would have won in Minnesota, we would have won in Maine, we would have won in Massachusetts. The turnout may have been a little bit different.
Joe Biden.
Now, you notice Bernie Sanders didn't say he would have won the South because it was already given. That's why he didn't waste his time. But those states, he were really right on that. If the Democratic Party establishment didn't put the pressure, how can you tell me that pressure didn't come down on these people? All of them, even those who had dead campaigns, rose from the dead, like Beto O'Rourke came in support of Joe Biden. Pete Buttigieg turned his airplane around. He was on his way to a freaking campaign event, and he turned his airplane around to go out and endorse Joe Biden. Then here comes Amy Klobuchar. She's trying to fight in Minnesota to beat her own state, and then all of a sudden she suspend her campaign. You can't tell me that wasn't a calculated effort by the establishment to stop Bernie Sanders. Smart, and it was calculated, and it worked. The only caveat is Elizabeth Warren, we don't need you. We need you to stay in, because those two states, there's a few states where you're polling heavily, and you're actually doing better than Joe Biden in those states. And we need you to stay in and take away from votes from Bernie Sanders and see if we can get Joe Biden to rise up a little bit after you siphon some of those votes from Sanders. So we need you to stay in. Of anybody we don't need dropping out, you do not drop out. You are a spoiler. You are a siphoner. You can suck up all the votes away, progressive votes away from Bernie Sanders. Now, had she dropped out, all those votes, majority of her votes would have went to Bernie Sanders, because majority of votes are what they call true blue progressives. You got a lot of people that are third way or, America's Center for Progress type of Democrats. Very limited. A lot of feminists would have supported Elizabeth Warren. But had she dropped out of that race, it would have been a different thing. Let me keep going.
Also rallying with supporters yesterday, officials from the venue in Kansas say a couple thousand people showed up for the former vice president, and they were all willing to wait, lining up for blocks, all willing to hear Joe Biden speak and take their time getting into that auditorium. He is still leading the delegate count with 624. However, we should note there's still 110 California delegates left to win, meaning that Sanders could narrow Biden's 68 delegate lead or even overtake him. Their next chance to win delegates comes Tuesday. That's when 6 states head to the polls. The biggest prize is Michigan, with 125 delegates up for grabs there in the Wolverine state. Joining me right now, David Sirota, senior advisor and speechwriter for Bernie Sanders' 2020 campaign. David, big welcome.
Now, before David Sirota speak about his speech writing, the delegate counts haven't finished in California. And there's a couple of states that are making complaints about the ballots and the paper ballots and just a lot of chicanery that's been going on in Dallas. A couple of the counties decided they wanted to recount their votes. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because they felt like something wasn't right. Something wasn't going right. And see, this is the thing about Bernie Sanders. You need to have a huge team of poll watchers. You got to have your own poll watchers. You can't let establishment-leaning people in that community to poll watch. You can't. You got to have your own poll watchers. And I think that's what happened in Dallas. That's probably what happened in Massachusetts. But let's hear from David.
Welcome to you. You have to appreciate this endorsement in Michigan from the Reverend Jessie Jackson. Tell me what it means for the Sanders campaign, given the perception of his challenges winning over African-American voters.
It's a huge endorsement, a really huge endorsement, because Jessie Jackson, of course, is one of the great civil rights leaders in history. Jessie Jackson also won a historic win in Michigan in 1988, which was seen as one of the landmark moments in Democratic primary history. I mean, Jessie Jackson's endorsement, what he said in his endorsement, I think is really the key here. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said that basically now is not the time for moderate policies, because the crises we face, and in specific the crises the African American community faces, requires something much more far-reaching, an agenda that's much more far-reaching. And he went through Senator Sanders' agenda. We're talking about major investments in public education. We're talking about a Medicare for All program to deal with a health care crisis that ends up with thousands of Americans dying every year because they lack affordable access to affordable medical care. So this is a big, big endorsement. I really can't stress it enough, and I think that a lot of people will be hearing about it today because the Reverend Jackson's going to be in Michigan with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube.
All right, there you go. So look, let's talk about this. Let's wrap around this a little bit, okay? Jessie Jackson is a civil rights icon.
People endorsing him.
And I guess that's what most of the people on there watching Jordan Sheridan. He's on. I usually watch Jordan myself. So let's take a look at this. Jessie Jackson is a civil rights icon. He walks side by side, like one of Dr. Martin Luther King's right-hand man. And I'm quite sure he understand, even though he leaned in a little bit while he was in office, that the one of our worst roadblocks, one of our best roadblocks are white liberals who are always telling us that not this time, next time. You're going too far, you're reaching too far. Nah, just take one step. Let's fix this right here first, and then we'll go for this. Just wait for that. We just saw a video of Martin Luther King saying in his letter to Birmingham, that's our worst nightmare. That's the moderate. Not just the liberal, but the moderate who just want to do things in moderation. So here's my deal on this, and I'm going to be going. Like I said, this is kind of quick. Congratulations to Bernie Sanders. Now, the key is, at least he went into detail on what Bernie Sanders is offering communities. Now, the thing is all communities. He need to work with Sanders to talk about what he can offer for the black community in general so he can garner up black votes. He need to get his black vote level up. Him and Jessie Jackson need to go on a tour and visit black cities. Not just black churches, black barbershops, black clubs. Just don't drink too much while you're out there and leave the strippers alone. But you need to go wherever you need to go. Wherever black people are, he need to be there talking with them, listening to their needs and advocating for it, and putting that into policy also. He do that, he can garner a black vote. It'll be a whole new ball game, especially with Jessie Jackson being in the forefront, endorsing him. His endorsement, people haven't bought in Jessie Jackson recently as Clyburn and the people in the South. Well, hopefully this will go in direct competition, right? Direct opposition of Clyburn, because Jessie Jackson is a more well-named, more dominant figure in black history. The black history books are full of Jessie Jackson, not James Clyburn. And then Jessie Jackson did go over some of the things that Bernie Sanders are offering people. I said he need to tell him to spend quality time and let the black community tell him what they need so he can advocate for it. That's it on that one. He can gain more black support. Now, last but not least, because I know a lot of people are on right now, this is a favorite ode. Jessie Jackson owed him this favor. So oftentimes you can say he's doing it because it's the best thing to do, but according to his reason why about the moderate thing, that's the right answer. But you got to understand, the first person that came to Jessie Jackson aid when he was running for office was not the Democratic establishment. They hated this guy. The nerves of a black man to run for office. We just got rid of a black woman who ran for office, Shirley Chisholm. We're not going to entertain her on that no more. She can wrap that up. But the nerves of him to run against people that we picked. We picked those people like the caucus and all that. We picked them. Bernie Sanders came to his aid. Bernie Sanders pushed him to win Vermont and a couple other cities that day. Bernie Sanders did that. And guess who else? Guess who else didn't mind supporting Jessie Jackson? A young Donald Trump. Yep, him and Donald Trump are good friends. They're good friends. So you don't hear about him talking about Donald Trump that much. So, because him and Donald Trump's been good friends for a while, Donald Trump has donated to his political action committee, the Rainbow Coalition, and Donald Trump helped finance a lot of Jessie Jackson's campaign when he ran for president. That's just the truth. Okay, is it this thing that we talked about earlier, that the white moderate need to have a black savior to pretend that he's going to save the world and he's going to fund, hey. Anyway, I'm done this. Got to love the Nazi flag being used against Bernie. I don't, Pat, but thank you for your support. What you did today, I really appreciate you donating to the channel and help with the cause of Bob TV and helping us get the computer. I really, really appreciate you, and I thank you. You're a long-time person of the show, and I really thank you. I don't take this lightly. People who donate whatever they can to the Bob TV network or the 2020 campaign. I value that. So I just want you to know, because I know you're up here, that I really appreciate you. And I thank God for you. And I'm going to let everybody go. For us 2020, I'm not sleeping on Tulsi Gabbard. Okay. She's doing what she's building smallly but surely a community. I never try to discount people, because people thought that about Bernie in 2016 and he almost beat Hillary Clinton. So anything is possible if you know how to strategically plan your campaign right. And right now, one of the best things Bernie Sanders can do is go in the black community, listen to their needs, put it in policy, advocate for it to get their vote. Other than that, you're not going to get the black vote. And you really need the black vote. You're not going to win without it. So get at it, Hoss. Listen to me. Go down there and find out what they want, advocate for it in policy, and you'll get a lot of black support. I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. I'll holler at you later. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Mike. Have a good day. And keep pushing people to donate to the channel so we can get this equipment out the way. Appreciate it.